today I wanted to discuss and talk about the balanced scorecard and the importance of cascading the balanced scorecard correctly to the departments and divisions under the CEO, and also to the key individuals within the departments and the divisions of an organization. So while the scorecard is often used by many progressive organizations as a performance management and a strategy execution tool, its objectives are divided across the four parameters: financial, customer, operational, and learning and growth, which is a good way to articulate the strategy, communicate the strategy to the board members, the shareholders, and also to the executive management. What sometimes happens is a well-developed scorecard at a CEO level or an organization level does not get communicated or cascaded as well to the departments and the divisions below the CEO, which is basically a shame, because what you'd want is all departments and divisions also performing at the same level, performing in tune, so that the overall objectives of the organization get met. So some of the challenges that typically happen is, once the scorecard is developed at an organization level, its communication is lacking to the next level. So what happens is the support functions, the business functions are not always aligned and pulling in the same direction across the year. Hence, the objectives sometimes gets challenged. They are developed in silos. They are not comprehensive enough, and they don't follow the overall goals and ambitions of the CEO. And what typically then happens is each one is pulling in different directions. Hence, it becomes extremely critical to ensure that the overall scorecard, which has been accepted, communicated by the CEO to the shareholders and to the executive management, also gets communicated down to the divisions and departments in a manner in which each one is positioned and pulling in the same direction as required by the CEO and as required by the organization to meet its overall objectives and end goals. So what typically then gets done is that each department and division, whether it's a business or a revenue generating department or a support department or an operation department or a compliance or a risk department, the overall scorecard then gets broken down into a set of goals and objectives that each department or division, whether it's a revenue generating or a business unit or an operational function or a risk and compliance function, it gets developed in a manner in which it is ensured that each one's objectives or the division's objectives pulls in the same direction as the organizational objective. This clearly ensures that there is better accountability, there is strategic alignment among each department. Each department is ready to ensure at the same time meet the revenue objectives, meet the goals and objectives, whether they are related to operationally, customer related, financial goals, all get pulled into a similar direction. There is linkage of KPIs between a revenue generating department, a support department, and a risk department to ensure all are pulling and ensuring that the overall goals are met. If this is not done in a manner in which it is aligned, there are wastages, there are silos that get formed within an organization. The targets are not consistently set in a manner in which it helps meeting its overall goals and objectives. Also, what happens is there is a lot of wastage in resources. There may be initiatives and projects that get undertaken that not necessarily are important to meet the overall targets and ambitions of the organization. Also, the timing becomes important, because the support departments and the operations department, the compliance department all need to pull in a direction in which supports the revenue generating and business departments meet their objectives, so that the overall financial objectives of the overall organization that get met. But if the alignment is not there, what really happens is you see a lot of wastage in resources. The timings are off. And also what is then becomes critical is, once you have set the cascaded scorecards of the divisions and departments in place, the key personnel or the key resources in the departments should also have their KPIs or individual performance measures reflecting that of their division or the department, to ensure that each one of them is pulling in the same direction with the department is pulling, so that the overall organizational objectives get met in the manner which is efficient, resourceful, and also meeting the overall targets and objectives that are being set and agreed with the board by the CEO. This is what we call is a perfect cascade from an enterprise level to a department and division level, and then to an individual performance level. What typically happens these days are, in a digital age, all these are typically driven on the system as the scorecard of an organization is put on an overall system. The cascaded scorecards are then for the divisions and department also developed onto the system, so that the monitoring and performance management and review is a seamless function. Can be the objectives and goals and targets can be monitored seamlessly. The projects and programs that are run to support the objectives can be monitored seamlessly. And performance review is more a scientific function than a qualitative one, which typically gets done between the CEO, the divisional heads, and the individual organization. Hence, we see that for any smart organization, not only is an enterprise scorecard important, but also ensuring that these scorecards then get cascaded onto their divisions, departments, whether they are business, revenue generating, support, or compliance related, and then ensuring that the key individuals within each department are also ensure that their performance gets monitored and cascaded according to the needs of the departments and divisions, to ensure an efficient implementation and execution of strategy throughout the organization.